Hey there, I'm Jackie Ferris. They say that all the world is a stage. Well, tonight we are on the stage at the Clear Space Theater, getting a special behind-the-scenes preview of the 2023 season. Get ready, the spotlight is on the 302. Welcome to the Clear Space Theater. As you can see behind me, they're in the middle of a holiday production of Elf, but we're going to talk about 2023. I'm joined by Clear Space Theater Executive Director Wesley Paulson to tell us all about. First of all, Wesley, thank you so much for joining us.
It's always good to have you.
So tell us a little bit about the history behind the Clear Space Theater.
Clear Space Theater was founded in 2004. Here in Rehoboth Beach to bring live theater to the beach. And over a period of almost 20 years, we've grown from a few productions a year to having a home year-round here in a former church, and also offering classes for children and adults of people of all ages who want to learn about theater in addition to coming to see our shows.
Absolutely, and you guys have a very busy schedule for 2023.
Yes, we do. We've got 13 shows scheduled, from familiar things like Kinky Boots and a musical about SpongeBob to a new play by one of our former actors. The mystery, Stephen King's mystery, Misery, will be on stage. And we try to reach as broad an audience as possible with as many different kinds of theater as possible.
And when you look at what's coming up for the year, you've definitely done that. There's a lot of variety. Now, you mentioned Kinky Boots. Now, for somebody who maybe hasn't heard of it, maybe they're from another planet, I'm not sure. If you can tell us a little bit about the premise behind Kinky Boots.
Well, the premise behind Kinky Boots is, it reminds me a little bit of Full Monty, in that there's a town in England that's on hard times, and somebody comes to revive the shoe factory by making these disco boots is, I guess, what I'd call them, just from memory of the images. And it's the whole transformation of the town and what happens.
Now, on the other end of the spectrum, everyone has heard of Misery, but perhaps tell us a little bit about, about the plot behind Misery.
The plot behind Misery features a mystery writer along the lines of Stephen King, who is trapped in the home of somebody who continues to remind him that she's his biggest fan, and then she continues to just abuse him and because he keeps trying to leave. I will tell you that it's, as executive director, you don't always get to have your favorite picks of shows, and Misery the movie was not one of mine, but there's a lot of people here who like to see a mystery show like that, and it's drawn a lot of excitement for us. So that's another example of the variety of things we do. Absolutely,
and that's one of the first things that you'll be doing in 2023, right?
Yes, in January, we usually do either a mystery or a comedy. So this year it's mystery year, so we've picked Misery. We have a general theme of what we do year round, and that's what we do in January.
So what are the challenges, to a lot of people may have seen this film, and they're going to come here with some notions of how things should be. And there is definitely a stark difference between the screen and the stage. So talk to me a little bit about the challenges of, fulfilling expectations and exceeding them, because it's so live and you really can draw people in.
We usually try to do some education ahead of time. An example of that is The Sound of Music. The stage musical is very different than what you see in the movie. In the movie, they rearrange the songs and they're in different places. Same story, just the songs are in different places. So in a case of something like Misery or something people are familiar with, we try to do some education ahead of time. One thing I think of, we did Rocky Horror Show, and of course everybody knows Rocky Horror. What the lines, the jokes, the throw the toast and all that. And we were surprised that people didn't participate in all of that sort of stuff because it was live theater. They got so taken in by the live theater that they forgot all the usual things. And that's often true. People, once they get into a play like Misery, that they're familiar with the movie, they tend to get drawn into the play and will buy into what the play is, how the play might be different than what you see.
Absolutely.
And I attribute that to it's live. So you're right here with the actors.
And they just, like you said, they draw you in.
Yes.
It's the atmosphere, and there's no screen. You're
Right.
just right there watching the action.
Right, no pause button. Where you're no more than 3 or 4 rows back from the stage here. So you don't have much choice but to be right in the action. And sometimes the audience is drawn in a bit depending on the type of show it is.
Well, there are so many shows that we're going to talk about. And when we come back, we'll do just that. We'll be right back.
This is Jen Bose from the Greater Wilmington Convention and Visitors Bureau. Be sure to watch the 302 for all the fun things there are to see and do in Delaware.
Welcome back. We're at the Clear Space Theater talking about all the fantastic shows that you can anticipate for 2023. Now, let's talk a little bit about the USO show. It's not just a show, but it's also a collaboration.
Yes, we started about 8 years ago a program we call Clear Space Gives Back. We're a nonprofit organization and we depend on donations and things like that. But part of theater is being connected with the community around either issues or needs or programs that are out there. And so this year we selected to work with veterans organizations in Sussex County. And so our theme is going to be a USO show, typical of what you might have seen in the 40s or 50s, a little bit of nostalgia. And the idea is that we split the proceeds of the ticket sales with the partner organization. Last year, we did a play called Sylvia about a dog, in which the dog is played by a human, but we partnered with the Delaware Humane Association, and we had a doggy runway. So you could come to the show, learn about Delaware Humane Association, and adopt a dog. So they came in, they did their doggy runway before the show, and we introduced them as if they were models, you know, and they did a turn. And that was an example. We've also partnered with BB Hospital, Camp Rehoboth, Delaware AIDS, and had a play each time to call attention to an issue.
Absolutely. So how do you prepare? I know that you have about every month and a half, there's a new show. So I would imagine while one show is in production, another is in pre-production. So how do you keep it like smooth?
We have a real challenge to run a current stage show and get ready for the next, but it tends to work out. Our shows are presented to the public only on weekends, Friday and Saturday nights, and usually Sunday matinees. So in the evenings during the week, and even on the weekends, we can have rehearsals in this same room that's our theater. And it generally works out. And by the time the next show is ready to go up with sets and props, the previous one is closed, and we can install the backdrops and things that we need for the next show. Now it gets really amazing. There's a point in the fall where we actually have 2 shows in rehearsal and 1 on stage. And that's all because of timing of fitting in a fall play, a Halloween-based musical, and the children's musical that we present in November. And so it does get a little crazy trying to fit it all in, but we do.
Well, what is it they say? The more you have to do, the more you get done.
Yes, that's very true.
Absolutely.
We did a calculation one time, and we figured that this room, which is our theater, it's also our classroom space and our rehearsal space, is probably used up to, or is only empty about 20, 25 days a year. I'll say it that way.
And we're going to talk about the education piece of things in our third segment, but I wanted to move on to Damn Yankees. That's going to be a big show. I know that's a definite crowd pleaser.
Yes, we're excited to run Damn Yankees. March is our Golden Age musical, and we chose Damn Yankees this year about the story of the player who sells his soul to the devil and all that's involved. And we get great response to that nostalgic Golden Age musical, and that's the time of year we like to do it.
Definitely. And then you have, after that, Matilda. Now, what's special about Matilda? I know there's a special component.
Matilda is one of our spotlight shows, and the audience comes one weekend only and sees our usually middle school and high schoolers in a fully staged show. They are costumed, they have backdrops and sets just as complex as the one in our background here for Elf. And you watch these kids just do amazing stuff. And I've known over 10 years being here to watch them grow up and evolve, into kids doing shows, no offense, but into really having some good acting skills, watching them learn how to handle when something happens on stage, like a piece of costume falls off or somebody misses a line, and you really watch them grow up. And it's an opportunity for them to perform in front of a live house.
And it's also an opportunity, I would imagine, for kids who want to be a costume designer or want to work on sets, things like that. You get the full experience with that.
They do. They learn every aspect of the theater about, what's involved and, what you do, learning your lines while somebody else is on stage in rehearsal, getting what we call blocked or told where your position is.
Excellent. So tell me about Lucy in the Sea with Darwin.
That is a new work that we've not seen a final script yet. Wesley Cappiello is writing the play, and Wesley was one of our first summer actors from college who came to us the year we did Chorus Line. And rather than getting involved mostly with acting, he started writing plays. And part of our mission, in addition to presenting you familiar plays like we've talked about with Misery and Damn Yankees, is to present new work. So you can learn about what Wesley's trying to do as an emerging playwright and see a new piece of work that might challenge you in a new way of thinking that's not something familiar.
So I think it's interesting to see new performances on stage and kind of think to yourself, I'm seeing this now, but who knows, a year from now, 2 years from now, this could actually be on Broadway and you would have seen it here first.
Yes, that's the exciting part of what we do, is encouraging new work. We've also had that same experience of seeing people in New York with some of our summer actors who are now on stage. One of our young ladies is now in the Neil Diamond musical on stage.
Wow.
Another one of our dancers from our first summer has been in Hello Dolly with Bette Midler, been in Music Man, has done just a variety of stuff. So we've seen them win, as people like to say, and watch them grow. And it's so exciting.
So one of the shows that I know when people look at the lineup that's going to pop right out is Jesus Christ Superstar. That is a blockbuster for a lot of people.
Yes, we've not done that before. We did our first Andrew Lloyd Webber show last year when we did Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So now we're coming back with Superstar. And we'd like to bring that variety of shows to the summer, something for everyone.
Now you mentioned Kinky Boots when we first started talking, and the SpongeBob musical, is that for kids or is that for everybody?
I think SpongeBob's for everybody. I watched the Tony Awards when they run the segment of the show, and I was just fascinated by the Squidly, doing tap dance. There's an actor in a costume dressed as Squidly tap dancing, and you wonder how that gets done. So I think SpongeBob, yes, will appeal to children, but I think there's enough child in all of us that it'll be a fun show, and we look forward to having it.
Excellent. And we look forward to seeing it. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what else you can see here at the Clear Space Theater. We'll be right back.
My name is Dale Clifton from the Discover Sea Shipwreck Museum. We have lots of history here, but there's always something new on the 302.
Welcome back. We're at the Clear Space Theater with Wesley Paulson, talking a little bit about all the wonderful shows that you can come down and see in 2023. Now, I want to dive right into, you have something that's kind of like a spin on the Golden Girls called The Cemetery Club.
Yes, it's a play much cast like Golden Girls with 4 women involved, in their older age and coping with, changes in their lives. And it's a comedy. We try to do, again, in that September area, we try to do a comedy without music, because there are people who want to come and only see plays. So we've chosen Cemetery Club.
And tell me about Godspell. I have not seen this, but I've heard of it before.
Godspell is a story musical based on the book of Matthew. And that's another one of our Spotlight shows. So this show will be presented again by the students in our Spotlight on Young Performers program. And we're looking forward to that too.
So rounding into the holidays, you have Estella Scrooge. Now, is that kind of a twist on the Charles Dickens classic?
Estella Scrooge is a musical based on, obviously, the Charles Dickens classic. Only this time, Scrooge is a female role, and it takes place in Ohio. It's a new musical that was produced during COVID on YouTube.
Oh.
So we are going to be presenting it for you live on stage, but it's the same story of the three ghosts and the transformation of Estella. We try at the holiday season to do a little something different and keep a Scrooge story in the rotation. So this was a chance to, again, keep that edge and do something new for you.
Absolutely. So you said it was done on YouTube the first time. So this is an original telling.
Yes, it's an original telling that was written during COVID.
Yeah.
And transformed the story and gave it a little twist.
That's cool. That's really cool. We jumped right over Halloween. Young Frankenstein. I love that movie.
Oh my gosh.
You got to tell me about this.
Young Frankenstein is one of my favorite movies, and Mel Brooks made it into a musical, so it has all the familiar lines. You know, could be worse, could be raining, and then there's the big number, Putting on the Ritz, is there, of course, from the movie, but then there are new songs as well. So this will be another adventure. We do that at the end of October in conjunction with Sea Witch in town. So you can have a twofer when you come to Southern Delaware. You can come see Young Frankenstein and spend the weekend during Sea Witch, attending our costume parade and participating in all sorts of activities in the afternoon on that Saturday.
That's just a whole family weekend for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of thing where, especially around the holidays, you need to be mindful and say, I want to see this play. I need to book in advance, right?
Yes. Yes, a lot of our shows sell out quickly. Our Elf has sold out. I was surprised how quickly Elf sold out that we just ran in Christmas. And so I always advise, book your seats early. And the same with hotel if you're coming down and making a weekend of it for Young Frankenstein and Sea Witch.
So, we've been talking about the shows themselves, but let's talk a little bit about, we mentioned the educational piece. So is that for local kids, or how do you get involved, and what's involved in all of that?
We offer several signature programs for children and adults. Our youngest group is Broadway Babies, which is preschoolers, and they learn some motion activity, a couple short songs. Our next program is Broadway Bound, which is for second grade through middle school, and they begin to really define their skills for dance and improvisation and singing. And then Spotlight is our signature program for the high schoolers. And then we also offer a program called Broadway Legends for older adults. Okay. And that's part of helping to create that next generation of theater goers. We've got right now a young man who was with us for a number of years, Gavin Connor, who went on, he's in New York going to college, and he was in a movie on Netflix.
Oh, nice.
Had a little itty bitty part. He had one sentence line, but there was Gavin, who we knew back when. And so we're bringing that next generation online, and that's really key. Folks often will try to arrange their summer vacation so that their child or grandchild can be in one of our summer camps.
That's amazing. So how long are the summer camps?
Summer camps are a week, so it's by age group, by grade and age group. And it's a week long, so they start on Monday, and by Friday they're doing a junior version of a show.
I can imagine that's probably really thrilling for them.
Yes, it's thrilling for them and thrilling for us because you just watch these kids grow.
Absolutely. So you also do something tied into the Tonys, is that right?
Every year we have a Tony party as a way to celebrate the Tony Awards in Broadway and to raise a little bit of money for the theater. And we also do a summer preview because by then our actors are here for summer, they're in rehearsal, so people attending the Tony party can celebrate the Tonys, support the arts here at ClearSpace, and also have that first preview of what summer's going to be like. Even though you've seen the rack card, now you're hearing the songs and meeting the actors. It's a lot of fun.
I can imagine. So now you also have a gala that you do, right?
Yes, we do a fall gala. This year's title was Grand Night for Singing. It's an event that features our preview of the next year. And so folks like to come to it because it's a great social event. For the summer's over and we do it right at the beginning of September. But we also offer that preview again of the next year, and it's a big reveal. This year, I didn't even know all of the songs. Although, as executive director, I could. I kind of played along with the mystery.
Oh, sure.
And was suitably surprised. So it's a great event, a lot of fun.
It sounds
dinner
like it.
and dinner and a short show, you know.
Yeah, an opportunity to get a little dressed up.
Yeah, oh yes.
Go and have a good time,
Yep.
all for a good cause.
Nice meal, all for a good cause.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for telling us all about, you know, the different shows and the programs and everything. And if somebody wants to find out more, they just visit your website. Are you on Facebook as well?
We're on Facebook, Clear Space Theater, and our website is clearspacetheater.org. You can find out just about anything. And if you have questions, please call, because Sydney and Laura will be happy to help you in the office.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. For more information on the 2023 season, you can visit clearspacetheater.org. That'll do it for this week's episode of the 302. We're going to leave you now with some beauty shots from a drone of the Lewis-Rehoboth Canal. Until next time, I'm Jackie Ferris. We'll see you on the 302.